I did my PowerPoint on hiring a client. As an addict, we have an additional perspective that a counselor who has never suffered from addiction won't. We can empathize with our clients to their situations and give them the best guidance going forward. A client could also be more willing to discuss the recovery journey with someone who knows exactly what they've gone through. It provides a trust that may otherwise not be possible, and therefore more room for breakthroughs on the journey. There is also hope in seeing someone that went through the process of recovery in a position to be able to help others. A lot of inspiration comes from that, and that's why I chose to take this class anyway. The risks is that relapse is always a possibility. Losing credibility because of the risks of relapse are high. There also stands the risk of losing credibility, not just among clients, but also their own peers and bosses. Reading a room, there is a certain amount of disclosure that may not be necessary with clients, and it's important for counselors to be aware of how much they are divulging of their own personal experiences. The focus, as always, should remain on the client. While personal information from a counselor may help, it might also hinder the recovery of the client. Burnout is also a risk for anyone, but I believe it's a risk, sometimes even greater for an addiction counselor that has a substance abuse history. The next slide is going to show the case study on Myra. Myra has been a recovered addict for about 2.5 years. Her own addiction counselor has inspired her to pursue a career in the same field. She goes to school, learns the necessary materials, and implements this new success into her recovery journey. Her first client, Jeffrey, is struggling with addiction similar to her own. The experiences he tells her are painful for her to hear because she knows entirely too well how he feels. And it's not just Jeffrey. Many other clients have the same stories, and she's able to relate and navigate with more ease, but that triggers something in her that simply learning the materials didn't. She finds herself extremely stressed and burnt out after a few months, especially by keeping her past addiction to herself and never disclosing she's been in the same position as they are currently due to the constraints of other workplace staff advising her not to do so. This causes her to neglect the clients whose stories hit too close to home and prioritize those who she doesn't feel the most attachment to. It also causes her to struggle with her own addiction battle and fight the urge of relapse. Jeffrey returns to the office for his next appointment, and instead of seeing Myra, he sees a more experienced counselor in her place, letting him know that Myra will be taking a break from work. Her clients feel betrayed by this, especially once some of them see her at several meetings from then on and learning how she has also been suffering from addiction. The following slide in my case for Myra displays autonomy by taking a break from her work to do what she feels is necessary as a recovering addict to keep herself sober instead of allowing herself to become stressed to the point of relapse. There is also a lack of autonomy when she's unable to discuss her own addiction to her clients due to the constraints of a workplace and their recommendations. This is also an example of non-maleficence. Myra removed herself from the equation so that she herself would not be an influence on her clients, nor would she not continue to neglect the clients whose stories triggered her. At my case, at least in this sense, Myra's taking a break to allow a more experienced counselor to take over is definitely more so an example of beneficence, as she protects her clients first and foremost so that they can receive effective counsel. I'm not going to wording on that. The next slide is justice, fidelity, and veracity. So in this case, there is an absence of justice when Myra is unable to approach the clients with similar stories to her own as though those who do not. This is caused by her following the rules and not disclosing her addiction to clients because of the work establishment boundaries. And though she didn't lie, she wasn't truthful to her client, which as a result of following her workplace recommendations, resulting in a lack of veracity, as well as a feeling of betrayal found amongst the clients once they seen her in the following NA meetings. The next slide is the codes from Maryland law. Myra tried functioning to the best of her abilities in her profession, given her training and expected role as a counselor, because she was not able to view her clients objectively due to how closely related their experiences are to her previous ones. She avoided continuing a counseling relationship with her clients as she knew that they were not benefiting. How do you believe Myra should have approached this situation? I believe Myra should have anticipated that her client would share similar stories to her own and could have utilized her own experiences to her advantage regarding the rehabilitation of her clients. It is important to note that while work staff encouraged Myra to remain quiet about her own recovery, it's not a requirement, and therefore she could have disclosed at any point. It would have also probably saved her from burning out so quickly on the clients whose story she felt most connected to. In my case, I believe Myra did the right thing by removing herself from the situation, even with her clients feeling betrayed from an ethical standpoint. She did what she felt was best by putting them first and not continuing counseling sessions that she didn't believe to be helpful to them due to her bias and own personal issues. She also got herself back into counseling sessions with previous counselors and started returning to meetings in order to get herself back on track. I would, however, not go to meetings where many clients attend. It could be more than just awkward, but unethical in the sense that the main reason for her urge to relapse are her clients and their stories and the stressful job. Reflection. In a case such as the one I created, it's personal for me. My goal is to enter this career and do my very best to help the clients that I'm counseling. Like Myra, I'm learning as much as possible to grow in both my recovery and career. Burnout is always a worry, but normal fear given the profession itself. Reflecting on a case like this, I can understand the possibilities of things going wrong. But I can also share how Myra felt in this. I'm very connected to my work and it's very important for me to be able to be there for my clients, anyone, even at this point without a degree. I speak to people regularly, so the emotional connection that we share, it's definitely something that I've had to work on with creating boundaries and stuff like that. But back to what this says, I think in a case like this, the most challenging aspect would actually be to not put my all into the clients I felt closest due to their stories. Never would I intentionally neglect other clients, but I understand the possibility is there due to human error and natural bias. In handling a case like this, my own values would not allow me to continue counseling relationships with a client if I felt I would steer them in the wrong direction in any way. Like Myra, I would look inward and evaluate my own mental health and internal boundaries and work on that before counseling others. So that's my reflection. That's what I chose to do on my PowerPoint. Thank you.